Welcome back to the Positive Gains Podcast. Today, my special guest is David Sledge Jr., founder of the Love Project Collective. David, what's up, man?
My brother, man. I'm just hanging in there, dog. It's really good to see you. Really good to be on the show. And again, I'm just honored and thankful to be here, man. So thank you so much for allowing me on the show, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. So the first time I saw David, it was I think on, I don't know, it was TikTok. I think it was Instagram, and he was out showing a lot of positivity. He was out there, I think, giving flowers to, I want to say it was Mother's Day. And now it's blown up, right? You guys are doing haircuts and you're just having conversations with people. So that's just a little backstory, but David's going to share on that. But if you would you, formally introduce yourself?
I got you, bro. So my name is David Sledge Jr. And again, I'm the founder of the Love Project Collective. And our whole mission, our whole purpose is to empower individuals to love themselves so that they can project that love into society and their community, right? And, we try to do that through connection and conversation. So a lot of the things that we do, we go out into the community, like Mike said, and we have conversations with people. And we try to make it fun. Just because, I love to have fun and I love to have a good time. And you definitely want people to get out of their comfort zone and everything. So, you want to allow people to have that space to, feel comfortable and feel safe and everything like that. So, we try to come up with different ideas. So we do haircuts for love, haircuts for conversation. Another thing that I do is free coffee for conversation. And then also one of my favorite things, and it's always spontaneous, is we just go out in the community and we just ask questions. And I like to do community mental health check-ins just to see how people are doing and everything like that. And then also, a lot of the questions are simple. So like, what does what does self-love look like for you? And just different things like that. And, I try to allow people to really lead the conversations and come from a personal heart space. And that's why a lot of the interviews is just me asking a question, and I may intervene just a little bit, just depending on what is said. But I really love to allow the person to really share their voice, because a lot of times when we're going through difficult times, trauma and pain, we feel like we don't have a voice. We feel like we're not seen. We feel like we're not heard. So the Love Project is really just about like allowing people to have that space, man, allowing people to know that they're loved, that they're seen, that they're appreciated and everything. And it's really all about community and coming together and knowing, like, at the end of the day, you're not in it by yourself. And to also realize, like, you're dope as hell. Like, you got this, like, we all got this light about ourselves. And sometimes we forget that with the things that we go through.
And and the thing is, like you said, you're getting out there, and you could see when you guys go up to people that they're obviously caught off guard and they're not sure exactly how it's going to go. But yeah, so many people love to conversate without even knowing it. And I think that's the beauty behind it, is
Yep.
that you're hitting the mindset of I'm gonna let you talk. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how's your day going, because a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't get that, and the world doesn't stop for anybody. So it's great that you guys are taking the time, maybe just a few minutes out of the day, just to check on people.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, like, where exactly? I mean, it's blown up. Was there something that inspired it for you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it just didn't pop in one day. Like, is there something that transpired that maybe made you think twice about maybe the quality of life?
Man, this is always my favorite question when I get onto podcasts, bro. Just because, like, you're absolutely right. Like, the Love Project wasn't something that just popped up. I didn't wake up one day and was like, "Hey, man, I want to spread love." Like, you a lot of times when you have these passion projects or you have these things that you're really serious about, it comes from a place of your own personal experiences, right? So for me, you know, I've been through certain things in my life, just like a lot of people, where I was almost killed. So in 2016, I went through an incident with the police, and I was almost killed in that incident just because of the color of my skin. And at the time, I was a college student. I was 22. So I used to take the Greyhound bus from Pensacola, Florida to Tallahassee, Florida, because during that time period, my ex-girlfriend lived down there. And I had a lot of friends that went to FAMU and Florida State. So, I would go down there for the weekends and just party and everything like that. And, this to me was a normal weekend. I was getting off the Greyhound bus from Pensacola, and I was going to the end of the platform. And all of a sudden, 15 U.S. Marshals pull up on me with handguns and assault rifles. And the head guy came up and he was like, "What's your real name?" And I was like, "My real name, David Sledge Jr." He was like, "No, F that. What's your real name?" So I had my hands up like this, bro, and I allowed him to grab my hand and guide my hand into my pocket. And I knew deep down in the back of my head, if he could get in my pocket and get my U.S. dependent military ID, everything would change. The way they looked at me, the way they talked to me and everything. And once they did that, everything did change. And one of the most infuriating, moments of that incident was the fact that they stood, after they cleared my name, they stood right beside me and they laughed and pointed at me. And, at that point, I was just so infuriated, man. I stopped liking people. I stopped really caring about people, and that wasn't in my DNA because I'm really the the jolly green giant or the black giant or whatever you want to call it, right? I'm like a big I'm like a big teddy bear, man. So and that's always been me since a young kid and stuff. But this incident kind of molded me into something that I wasn't, and I just stopped trusting people and really stopped caring and everything. But it took me moving to the Middle East, bro, for me to really like discover who I was as an individual, right? And just through trial and error, I made some mistakes when I was out there, but the Middle East it's very special to me just for the simple fact, like, it's a very spiritual place. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people go off media and he say, she say, and everything like that, which, I mean, there's good and bad in everything. But for me personally, experiences, man, where it really just allowed me to gain some understanding within myself and really start looking in the mirror at myself and understanding that the things that I went through, and especially that situation, didn't define who I was as a person. It was just part of my story. It was part of my testimony and everything. So it was just, going through all of that, it allowed me to sit with myself and really figure out, what could I do to really put change into the world, really, allow people to know just because you went through something doesn't mean, it's who you are. And I wanted to come up with an initiative, a movement where people could see that they had this light and not to dim this light and everything like that. So, over time, the Love Project came up. And, it took me a while, man, to come up with a name and everything because I didn't want it to be corny. I wanted to be something cool and all that kind of stuff. And I had to, through trial and error, I had to figure out what was it that I really wanted to do with the Love Project. So, for me, I love talking to people. I love having conversations. I love meeting people and everything. So eventually I was just like, man, like interviews, bro. Like this is the best way to kind of get me out of my comfort zone, to be on camera and everything, and to get other people out of their comfort zone and have conversations. Because in our society, I feel like we don't have conversations as much. Everybody's kind of like in their own world on their phone and everything. So, like you said, a lot of the questions that I ask people, it catches them off guard. And they actually have to sit there and think about it and really analyze how they're feeling or what they've been through and everything. And it really opens up a space for them to be vulnerable and honest and open.
And it took, like you said, it took a big thing for you to go through to really get the idea of I don't even want to say quality of life, but it took a life-changing event to shift into where you're at right now. And I remember hearing from somebody, there was a study done, and it was talking about when people were having a conversation and they were just walking on the street and they would just say hi and bye. And it was just so common, like hello, goodbye. And they would keep walking, that people weren't asking questions. And then the first person that said, hey, how are you today? Looking that person in their eyes, that person felt a sense of, oh, I think this person actually cares about me.
Wow.
And yeah, it's very interesting how you can impact the world without even knowing it. And it's funny you talk about um, speaking like on camera and stuff, because I fall into that same category. I would have never done that. I would have never seen myself doing this, 15, 20 years ago. I was a real shy kid. And I didn't really necessarily have a fear of public speaking. But no, if you'd have told me, hey, this is what you're going to be doing, on the flip side, I'm like, no, I'm not. No way. I was that shy kid. So I can relate to that, having a conversation and really tapping in and seeing what people are all about. Um, which leads me into like stepping outside of your comfort zone. Not everybody's going to have something happen life changing. Some people just want to do it on the fly. But what's helped you get out of that comfort, or that get out of that comfort zone and talking with one another, with different people?
So for me, man, like growing up, like because of how my dad is and just the example that he is for me, I've always seen him like talk to people. So, for me, that was something that I always did, but it was never on camera. And, growing up, I played football and I was blessed enough to go play college football for a little bit until I tore my shoulder. And I always, kind of shied away from the spotlight. I didn't like being on camera. I didn't, I was just a worker. Like, and that's how I am now. Like I'm in the background, I just work. You'll see me through my actions and what I'm doing and everything like that. But when you have a brand, or when you're the face of a movement, obviously you got to be in the spotlight, right? You're in these videos, you're in the camera, you're on podcasts and everything. So for me, one of the biggest things that kind of got me to step out of my comfort zone with all of this was one of my good friends. Her name is Monica, and I'm in partnership with her with different things that I do with the Love Project, and she has a tattoo on her that says "Do It Afraid." And every time I talk about, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm anxious and all this kind of stuff, she shows me the tattoo. And to me, doing it afraid is like, at the end of the day, we're all human and we all get nervous, we all go through different emotions and stuff like that. But nothing will ever change in your life if you don't show up, if you don't, if you don't show up. So at the end of the day, you could be scared, you could be fearful, you could be all this stuff. But if you're trying to really, do something that you're passionate about, do something that you love, you just got to show up no matter how you feeling in the moment and everything. So for me, when I do these videos and stuff, and I tell people, because they're always like, I'm nervous, I'm scared, man, this is out of my comfort zone. And I'm like, bro, I'm right there with you. Like, this is out of my comfort zone and we're in it together. Like, this is what community is about. I'm open and honest. I stutter, man, when I'm in these when I'm doing the camera, all that kind of stuff. Like, I get super excited, man. Sometimes I forget what I'm about to say and everything. And I just want people to see that raw and that raw authenticity. I want them to see who I am, because at the end of the day, a lot of times with social media, we see this highlight reel. We see
Right.
the perfect side of things. And as humans, bro, nobody's perfect, man. And even like sometimes with the quality of my videos and stuff, I don't aim to be John Singleton or anything like that. Like, for me, I just want people to know, like, at the end of the day, like, this dude is just out here doing some good stuff, and I could be out here doing some good stuff on my on whatever level that is and everything. So I just show up and I do it afraid, bro. Like, I'm just like, man, like, it's like being on the Friday night lights, being on the Saturday night lights and everything, and just knowing, like, at the end of the day, bro, I got this adrenaline going and I gotta show up. I gotta just do it, no matter who's in front of me and all that kind of stuff. Is a 4-5 star recruit. I just gotta show up and I gotta bust them in the mouth and everything. So that's just kind of how I do it. I just step out of my comfort zone, bro. Just do it afraid and just show up.
And people see that and they feed off of it. They see the energy, and they understand exactly what it entails, and that's what's helping. And again, it's just crazy if you think about it, because a lot of people in their families, maybe they're not getting that from mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. And so just meeting a stranger that's conversating, again, it's doing so much. That's why, I always applaud the work, that you're doing.
Thank you.
And that leads me into creativity. You talked about getting a name and not wanting to sound corny. Um, and it's tough, right? It's tough. There's so many different brands out there, and then you might play with it for a little while and you're like, nah, man, I'm not feeling that. Like, so it could be tough, creativity, but you found your own lane, something that you're great at. So how tough is it? in that creative process to stay there and to expand on what you've already done?
Okay. And man, that's a beautiful question, bro. So for me, one of the motivators for the Love Project was actually Mick Jenkins. So in 2016, he had an album called The Healing Component, right? And to me, it's top 10 greatest rap albums of all time. And that's just me personally. But really, the whole album was talking about self-love and projecting that love into society and everything. And he used Jesus as an example, right? And for me, I'm not super religious. I'm spiritual, right? But I think Jesus and the Bible is one of the dopest things ever. Just from the standpoint of like self-love and projecting that love into the world and everything, and projecting that love onto others. So that's really like a lot of the core principles and everything. That's what I took and I formed into the Love Project. So to answer your question about, how do I stay on top of things? A lot of times when you have a brand and you're doing what I'm doing and stuff, people have input. People want to, like, a lot of my friends or a lot of people that I know, they're like, they hit me up and they're like, hey, you should do this. And respectfully, I love it. But at the end of the day, that's not my vision. And the vision that God put on my heart isn't the vision that he put on your heart, right? So a lot of times for me, I just do stuff. Like it'll pop up in my head and I'm like, man, this sounds crazy. Like the haircuts for love, bro. It sounds super crazy or whatever the case is. But I knew I was doing something right. And I knew like we were on the right path, because one of the dudes that we ended up giving a haircut to recently, he was like, bro, I see this on TikTok. I see this on Instagram in other states, but nobody is doing that here. And for me, bro, it's one of those things where it's like, it's trial and error. Like, I may come up with an idea and it may go over people's heads. And that's perfectly okay, because, at the end of the day, I'm doing it. I'm believing in it, and it's changing somebody's life, because I always get DMs, bro, where people are like, hey man, like, this message really, I needed this today, please keep going. And people are starting to send me donations and stuff, bro. So I can bless the community and everything like that. So it just allows me to know, like, at the end of the day, bro, like, you just got to do what's on your heart. And some of the ideas I come up with are super crazy. And I tell people that I collaborate with, I'm like, hey, you can shut me down and say no if this is too wild for you. But like every barber that I approached, they was like, man, let's do it. Like, that's dope, man. You don't have to send me no cash. Like, I'm gonna do this out of love and everything like that. And we good. And then I got some other ideas, bro, that I'm gonna do. And I have not seen anybody do them. And I'm super excited, just because, at the end of the day, it's going to be something fresh. It's going to be something new and all that kind of stuff. But there are people that, I talk to and I'm like, hey, bro, or hey, sis, this is what I'm looking at doing. What do you think about this? And, I love to hear that feedback. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyways.
I always, even as a kid, bro, I've always been like that. So I'm like, why change now? So, and a lot of times people will give me feedback and I'll insert that feedback into what I'm trying to do. But I'm still, at the grand scheme of things, I'm still going to do what I feel like is right, or what my vision is and everything. So it's really just trying to like play. It's really playing with ideas, man. That's really what I do. Like, I'll go walk outside at nighttime and just really connect with God, my source and everything. And just be like, hey, man, like, what should I do next? And really, whatever comes on my heart, I'm like, I'm doing this. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give out roses. I'm gonna do free coffee and connect with people. I'm gonna do free haircuts and everything like that. And also, like, one of the biggest things that I love doing in San Diego is collaborating with other people, other like-minded people, because there's so many dope people out here. And it's like, we all want to give back and we all want to build community, but nobody's really the gap for that, right? And I'm starting to bridge that gap. People are hitting me up like, man, I had that same idea, but I have nobody to really do it with. And it was like, man, can we do it together? Like, and just forming relationships and connections, man. So it's really been a beautiful thing. And I just tell people all the time, like, if you have an idea, and as long as it's nothing crazy or nothing like that, like, nothing where it's going to hurt anybody or hurt yourself and stuff, just do it. Like, because at the end of the day, you won't know if it's a good idea until you do it.
Absolutely, man. And like getting into this next thing is like feedback, right? The feedback. But I always wonder when you go out and you're doing these things, does anybody ever ask you, like, with a straight face, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you being nice to me? Why are you out here? Does you ever get that question? Does it ever play with your mind a little bit?
Um, I have gotten variations of that question. Like people ask me like my origin story, like you have, and everything. But for the most part, bro, like most people, you know, want that, right? They want to be seen, they
Yeah.
want to be heard, they want to be acknowledged. So, a lot of times they're like, bro, like it's more so not why, but it's like, like why are you doing it? But it's kind of like why me? Like why did you
Mm.
pick me, right? Like what
Yeah.
did you see in me and everything like that? And it's just like at the end of the day, I'm all about vibes. And for me, when I go out and meet people, you can feel the energy. Some people, in certain stages in their life, so they may not be open to what you're trying to bring. But there's some people that like you're talking to them, and you're having that connection at first, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna push a little bit more because I know they want to do it. I know they're interested, but they may just be a little timid and everything. So I get a lot of that. But yeah, I don't really, not too many whys of like why are you doing this and everything, but like why did you choose to see me? And I always think that's super amazing because for me, I've been in places in my life during different times where I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel heard, I felt like I wasn't meant to be here and everything. So for me, I never want people to feel like that. So I try to go out of my way, and not even going out of my way, but when I go do these things, I try to get at least one person. Like that's my goal. Even the last thing that we did that we're working on the videos for, we did it at a college, and we did free haircuts for love at a college. And at first, everybody was passing us by. Everybody was just walking past and stuff. And I told my barber, I'm just excited. I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna do this, bro. Like, all that kind of stuff. And I had my sign, and I was like, man, like we're gonna get one person today, bro. Just one person. I said, don't give up. We're gonna get one person. And we got that one person, and then ended up being 4 total people and everything like that. And then, the feedback from those conversations was just like, man, like what y'all really doing out here, like y'all don't realize this, but you're saving lives. You're really impacting people because, a lot of people are walking around hurt and wounded and feeling like they have nobody to talk to. And you're going out of your day, taking time out of your day to really acknowledge people and see people and really allow them that space to share what they're going through and everything like that. So, a lot of the feedback that I do get is always uplifting, is always positive. And, people always hit me up in the DMs, man, like, hey, you're doing something special. Nobody's doing this. You just got to keep going. What support do you need? Like I've haven't had any, I guess you'd say, hate mail or anybody saying, bro, like this is corny or anything like that. And I'm sure as I grow, eventually I'm gonna get it. It just is what it is, man. But I'm
Yeah.
not really worried about that just because at the end of the day, like the feedback has been exceptional. Like people really have been showing love, and it really has like been inspiring other people to get out their comfort zone and be like, you know what? I want to show love. Like I want to go talk to people. I want to connect with people. I want to do it in a way that works for me. But it's been dope, man. Like the whole brand, bro, has been really cool. And I just really been tapping in with my source, and I just been letting go and letting God. And it's really been like one of those things where my blessings is coming down. Like you hit me back up, bro, to be on a podcast. Like it's just, and then I was on another podcast in New Jersey. So like things are really flowing and growing for me. And I'm just staying on the path and making sure like I stay connected with people and I stay doing what is on my heart.
And it seems like you're on the verge of something, humongous. The impact is already there. The people, you're out there, you're doing it. It just seems like it's already here, but it seems like it's about to just really blow up. Those are my feelings from it because every
Thank
time I see you on social media, it's all centered around the same thing, but it's always something different. It's different people. So it's not like you're going to the same, coffee shop or the same beach or whatever. It's always tapping into that creative space. And I really hope people can take from, this interview that, we all have the power and the ability to be a change in the world.
you.
It might not be the way that you do it or the way that the person down the street does it, but I hope people tap in because you don't have to be a monumental A-list celebrity to be able to get your word across. And the last thing I'll talk about on that topic is, I think during the pandemic, that's really what maybe bridge some of this together, because there were so many dark times for people, and people were looking for a reason to smile. Not everybody had like the family and the support. So in some ways I feel like you've gained a big family slash following. So I mean, that's great. Again, my hat's off to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
but,
And for me,
but
bro, like one of the biggest things that I strive for is community. And just because like how I was raised and how I grew up military. So every base that we moved to, there was always a community, people that checked up on us, people that loved us, all that kind of stuff. So, for me, I know everybody in the world doesn't have that. So, like you just said, some people don't have family, some people don't have people that check up on them and everything. So for me as an individual, I want to make sure that I'm that person. So everybody that I get to interact with, I make sure they know, like, hey, here's my number. You can always slide into my DMs and everything. No matter what you're going through, I'm here. And I also, like, every time somebody follows me, man, I make sure that I send a personal DM. I'm like, hey, my name is David Sledge Jr. I'm just so grateful and blessed that you chose to follow my page and you chose to show me love and everything, and let's stay connected and all that kind of stuff, because you never know what people are going through. And for a person to hear those words and it be genuine and it's authentic, it really can make their day. And hell, sometimes it can make their year. And they on this high, and they're like, you know what? I matter, man. Like, I matter. I have a purpose here. I'm gonna keep going because one person sees it. And if they can see it, then I can start seeing it in myself. And that's really just what it's about. So like for me, everything's about community and making sure. And that's why I don't trip over numbers. I see a lot of people, I don't have this many likes or this many people's not following me. If you're doing something from your heart and it's coming from a real place, the numbers, the money, all that stuff's gonna come. It's gonna happen. As long as you're grinding, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that's not on the forefront of what you're doing and everything, it's gonna come. You just got to go out there and just do it, be genuine, be kind, and all that kind of stuff. And people are going to attract to that because you're being who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, they will come. And I do remember that. He's talking about the DM. Yeah, right after I'm gonna say maybe a year ago, I got a DM from you with the exact same verbiage that you just said. And it threw me off in a good way. I was like, wow, a lot of people don't do this. So yeah. Oh, hang on. So yeah, what's next? I mean, so many big things that you've got. You've accomplished a whole lot. I mean, what if you can share, what are you looking into doing the rest of 2023?
Man, honestly, bro, I kind of just go with the flow. This is a
Okay.
really good question as well. But I'm working on a book. I'm working on an initiative with the Love Project called Let's Make Lemonade. And for me, the old adage, turning lemons to lemonade as a kid, coming from the South, I used to always hear that. And that saying used to always like kind of bother me because, when you hear that saying, a lot of times the older folks, it's like, basically being grateful, something bad happens in your life. It's just being grateful, right? And all that kind of stuff. But to me, I'm kind of putting a twist on it, right? In the book, we all get lemons. And a lot of times as humans, we're super stubborn. So we may
Right.
get 1, 2, 3, 4 lemons before we even want to have a change in our life. And a lot of times we don't change until we have a lemonade story, which is an awakening. And for me, my lemonade story was when I went through that incident with the police, and that was my awakening. Because before that, I was getting all these lemons. I had lemons from when I was a kid, bro, and I was running like I was filling voids, whether that be with alcohol, women, football, and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't feeling my feelings. I wasn't understanding, why I went through the things that I went through. I wasn't looking at myself in the mirror and forgiving myself and everything. So, that's a portion of what the book's going to be, and just letting people know, like, at the end of the day, we all have a lemonade flavor, right? We all have something that we can give it to the world, and give to ourselves and give to the world and stuff. So super excited about that. Been working on that for about 2 years and stuff. So I'm getting out of my own way and I'm putting it together. And I'm planning on doing speeches at colleges about it and all that kind of stuff, getting into football locker rooms, basketball locker rooms, and everything. So just really been grinding on that. Also, I'm about to work with a friend from Japan that I grew up with. We're working on a coloring book. Another thing that I love art and all that kind of stuff, and I want to turn what I do with the going out into the community into a coloring book. I think that'll be super dope. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna use actual people or animals. I don't know yet, because my whole life people said I look like a Teddy Graham. So I'm trying to see, trying to see should I use like little teddy bears or whatever the case is. So we'll see. Super excited about that. But on the front of the Love Project, I'm just gonna keep grinding, bro. Just keep doing these ideas. Just get more consistent. I know a lot of people, like, if they do have a complaint about what I'm doing, it's like, bro, like, you're not consistent enough. Like, you'll post a video 1 month and then you go miss it the next month and then you'll post another video. And I'm learning with social media, like, you have to be consistent because, a lot of times, people forget about you. So I've been doing a better job at being consistent, a better job at posting, but I have a lot of stuff, bro. I'm just gonna throw at the people and everything. And, by the end of the year, we'll see where we're at. But, I really want to start. Yeah, I really want to start just doing things on a bigger level and seeing where things go and everything. Because like you said earlier, like, I have something and the Love Project is here, but I know it can get here. And that's just always been my vision. I have dreams. People be telling me that. So I just know I got something. I just got to keep going and never give up and stay fresh and all that kind of stuff. So just super excited to see where things go. But those 2 books are going to be out by the end of this year, and just really excited about that.
So a whole plate full, and I hope you have really good walking shoes, man, because you're gonna be all over the place. But that's great. Getting out of your comfort zone, the books, everything. These are all great ideas and just another way to help people. And then I think it helps yourself too, because you might not see it, but when you do something, maybe you even now I still struggle with this. I don't know if I can do this, and then you do it, and it just gives you more motivation. And
Yep.
and now you're leaving behind a legacy, because regardless, people are always going to remember the great things that you did. So
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
at social media, where can people find you?
So I'm pretty simple, man. So, like, everything for me is at the Love Project Collective. So that's YouTube, that's Instagram, that's TikTok, and that's Facebook. So again, at the Love Project Collective. And for me, I follow back and everything. I show love. I'm not Hollywood yet, but but definitely, like I said, everything's about a community. So I try to make sure I tap in with everybody that shows me love and follows me and everything like that. So again, it's at the Love Project Collective, and I would love your support. We got a lot of wonderful things that's happening and everything. And if you want to send a donation in any type of form, everything again is at the Love Project Collective. That's Cashapp, that's Venmo, that's PayPal, and yeah.
So a lot of different ways. We'll put it down there in the not the comment section, but the description box. So we'll make sure to tag all your social media. Again, if you guys want to donate, make sure you donate. It's a great platform, organization. And, David, you're doing a great job. There again, you say honored, but I'm honored to have you on because we need more like-minded people that are willing to go above and beyond to really tackle the things that are plaguing, not just the communities, but this is the world, because what you're doing is going to reach everybody. You know what I mean? It might start out in San Diego, but I guarantee you there's people in London that have seen it, and maybe even Africa and you know what I mean? And just all these different areas. So I can't thank you enough for coming on. And yeah, you're welcome back on anytime, man.
Hey, Mike, I appreciate that, brother. And I wanted to ask you, man, because I know you always asking the questions and stuff, but like, what do you got going on? What's next for you?
You know what? I'm a lot like you, man. I get an idea and I talk to people about it, and then I'm gonna do it, regardless, if as long as I think it's a good idea. So to answer the question, Probably have another book, children's book coming out.
Okay.
Hopefully before Christmas, and just more interviews, and then looking to tap into the community and do a little bit more as far as outreach. I know
Okay.
I'm lacking in that area, so yeah, that's what I've got going on right now. I need to do a little bit more as far as community wise.
Okay. And I appreciate you answering that, bro. And again, man, like I really appreciate everything that you do. You know, we've been tapped in for about a year or so. And every time you come up on my timeline or my feed, you know, I get super excited, bro, just because, you know, one, you look like me. So, you know, it's always good to see, it's always good to see my brothers, you know, doing a passion and really, you know, giving people a voice, because that's really what you're doing with your podcast. And like I said, I'm a small fish in the pond, because some of the people you had on your show, bro, I'm like, bro, like that's
Oh
dope.
no.
So
Yeah.
I'm just smiling, bro. I'm just honored because I'm gonna be right there with them, man. So I'm making my way up there. You know, I'm a F, what is it, a F class celebrity. So
Oh. Oh no. Me and you are in the same pond, man. I just might have a couple extra floaties, you know. That's it. I'm not anywhere big, man, but I appreciate the kind words.
now you good, bro. But again, thank you, man, and I appreciate you, Mike. I'm not gonna hold you. I know it's Saturday, and everybody want to be with their families and chilling and whatever else everybody does on Saturdays. But again, thank you so much. I'm honored and I'm blessed, and I hope, man, you continue doing what you're doing and continue shining your light in the world.
Absolutely, man. And best of luck to you, and have a great safe weekend.
Thank you, thank you.